Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Wealth Boot Camp, and I wanted to talk about the lottery. A lot of people asked me recently, what I would do if I won the lottery. I guess as a finance professor, the way I would think about money might be a little bit different from everybody else. But maybe not, maybe not. But I thought it would be fun to kind of fantasize. That's what it is. That's what the lottery sells you. They sell you a fantasy. In fact, I remember one time observing how in one of the for one of the lottery things, the Powerball things, every person that came up, every customer who bought a ticket, they would sell them the ticket and they would ask them the question. They would say something like, "Would you want your money over the long term, or would you want it in one lump sum?" And the person had to decide right then if they wanted their money in a lump sum or if they wanted it over the long term. I don't think they really needed to ask that question. I think that was as somebody might call a mind blank, F-U-C-K. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of screwing with your mind a little bit, because basically what they're doing is they want you to fantasize and say, "Oh gosh, I don't know what I would do if I got the money." Because I would see people when they would ask them that question, they would really think about it as if they really thought they were going to win. They were like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, how much would it be? Well, okay, well, I could if I got the money. No, if I got it all at once, I'd probably spend it." Right? They're fantasizing, and what they're doing is they're selling you a dream, and that's what the lottery does. The lottery sells dreams in exchange for real money, which is why, generally speaking, the lottery is just not a good investment. Most economists will tell you that investing your money in lottery tickets consistently is not a good long-term strategy. You're better off putting your money into other kinds of investments that will let your money grow slowly. So don't try to get rich quick in the world. Try to get rich slowly. But anyway, since we're having fun and we're fantasizing, somebody asked me, what would I do if I had the big Powerball? I think right now it's over 1.5 billion or something crazy like that. So what would I do if I won the Powerball? Okay, well, let me go down the list. Number one, I would probably build a chain of schools for African American children all across the country. I would leverage maybe 50 million, 80 million or something into not just developing the infrastructure for the schools, but really use that to get additional financing to allow us to really invest hundreds of millions into building these schools and into marketing the schools to get donors to come into the school. Because you see where like the Ron Clark Academy, they got the kids dancing and all that stuff, teachers dancing with the kids, and it's really helping in terms of the marketing for the school, letting them know that what they're doing is actually, it appears to be working. The kids got uniforms, they look well educated, so it wasn't just the dancing that they offered, but the dancing was a way to bring people in. So I would probably, create a really good marketing team to help me market the chain of schools to create the demand from the parents so that they would come to the school. And I would probably have, schools in maybe, I don't know, 50 major cities or something to begin with. I'd hire great teachers, stuff like that. But again, I don't even know if 80 million would cover all of that. But again, 80 million can be leveraged into a couple hundred million or more, and also allow you to bring in some donations. So you could actually do something with that. And the schools will be built on the idea of building empowered African American people, and young people, right, to prepare for the next generation. The second thing I would do is I would start a tech incubator where basically I would have a competition. I would get some leading business experts, maybe about 10, 20, and pay them money to do this. And I would have them evaluate the best technology and the best business ideas in the black community to decide which ones should be funded. And what we would do is we'd set it up similar to the, I think it's called the Y Combinator out west, where we would look through all the best business proposals. We'd pick the ones that we like the most, and we'd give each person $100,000 to start their business, and we would bring them together. Maybe we buy some farmland somewhere where there's no distractions, Montana or something, right? Get some farmland and build up some offices on the farmland with computers and the latest technology, and have them all come together almost like a camp for maybe about 2 to 3 months, where they would come there and all they would do is work on their technology idea. We'd cover all the expenses while they're there, and then they would present these ideas to other people who are part of the incubator so that they can nurture these ideas, and then ultimately that funding could be put to work. In exchange for the funding, the organization would take a percentage ownership in the small company, so that if one of these companies became the next Facebook or the next Google, the incubator could grow, which therefore allows greater economic investment or investment infrastructure for the black community over the long run. That's the second thing I would do. The third thing I would do is I would form a really good think tank for the black community. Maybe grab maybe about 20 leading scholars and just have them research various aspects of the black community, everything from education to health, economic disparities, etc., and basically present these findings to the black community so that we can all be better educated on what's going on in our community. Also, it would put scholars on the forefront. I would, love to market these scholars so that people can see these images as opposed to the nonsense that they see on mainstream media. Mainstream media does not feature intelligent black people. Typically, they tend to feature ratchet black people. They tend to shape our culture in ways that are not healthy. In fact, much of what we call black culture actually comes from white people. Much of what we think is black culture comes from white media and our kids being in front of this television set that's telling them that 2 Chainz is the hot new rapper, even though that this rapper may be getting backed by a white or Jewish organization who has uplifted this person, put them on a platform to influence young black children. Or you see an artist that's telling black kids, to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, that they should be proud to kill each other, all this other negative stuff that we tend to see in media. That's not coming from black people. So be very careful about what you define as black culture. So somebody mainstream hip hop as black culture, just realize a lot of that black culture really is not originated from organizations that are run by black people. BET, for example, is not owned by black people. Let's remember that. So that's why I'd want to get into that space as far as the think tank, etc. The next thing I'd want to do is I'd want to help fund a super PAC or just some sort of machine that focuses on lobbying, that focuses on pushing forward political agendas that are beneficial to the black community. So when people try to run around saying that there is no black agenda, we would be able to say no, that there is. And that's the thing. A lot of people said during the Obama presidency, when black people weren't getting anything, black people ain't said what they want. There is no black agenda. That's not true. There was a black agenda from the very, very beginning. There was a black agenda being heavily promoted by people like Jesse Jackson, people like myself. There were others, but the problem is that what they did was they muted certain voices so you wouldn't have to hear those voices, so that you wouldn't ask for anything. So basically, black people got very little out of the Obama presidency, except the symbolism, of course. You get the pride of seeing your president as a black man, and pride really doesn't pay the bills. Pride doesn't elevate the community. Pride does not necessarily make our lives better. Don't get me wrong, pride has value. I'm not saying it doesn't, but pride is not something you can feed you can't feed your child pride in the morning instead of a bowl of cereal, right? So ultimately, black people to some extent are fed a lot of symbolism that makes us feel good, and when we feel good, it's almost like keeping a drug addict high. If you keep people high, then the drug addict isn't really going to ask for anything else. They're not going to want much else because they're so addicted to the high. So ultimately, I would have lobbying organizations in place to badger the hell out of these politicians to make sure that the black community's issues front as opposed to the background. I'd invest in that myself. The next thing I'd probably do is I would take the Black Business School that we established. We established the Black Business School, the Black Wealth Boot Camp is part of the Black Business School. And I said, I want to create a school that can be virtual so we can keep the costs low. And I want it to be able to give a high quality, low cost educational alternative to people who want to build in the black community. Most white universities don't have very many black professors. They don't hire black people because they're gatekeepers. They keep the gates up and they keep black scholars out. So I said, well, I want to let black scholars in. I want to bring in scholars and business people and other people who can educate the black community. Now, we funded this with our own money. So, we had a few $1,000s to invest. And believe me, I put all my money on the line to make this thing go. But it would have been, but if I had $100 million, if I had $100 million, I literally could turn institutions like this into transformative figures in the African American community. I'm talking about things that would literally, in about 3 to 5 years, shift the whole landscape of the black community. I mean, and I think about that and I say, gosh, with all that we've been able to do with just, 10,000 here, 5,000 there, 20,000 here, imagine if we had 20 million. It would be a wrap. It would be an absolute wrap. We could obliterate some of these crappy institutions out here that are destroying black people, these horrible media outlets that, we just know how to play the game on that in that way. And when you don't have as much money as everybody else, you learn how to be creative. You learn how to be a little smarter in terms of figuring out how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. So anyway, I would love to take the Black Business School, go get some of the leading scholars in the country and the leading business business leaders in the country, and get them to contribute to the ideas that will be necessary to teach young black people and older black people how to build for the next generation. And then the last thing I would do, this is kind of a sixth thing. I didn't even think about this, but I would actually like to do what Tyler Perry does in Atlanta. You know how Tyler Perry has Tyler Perry Studios? I don't know if he owns all of that. I don't know how much of that is his versus Lionsgate and other backers that he has. I would want to create a studio that was 100% black owned, and I would love to make a variety of films, some of which would be focused on edutainment, meaning just really good quality films that also elevate the thinking of black people, but it wouldn't be overly preachy. We could still entertain ourselves, but we would get a chance to really pay homage to black actors and actresses and filmmakers who just want to be human. Who don't want to feel like they have to fulfill a stereotype in order to get an opportunity, who don't feel that they have to run and get in line when Empire is holding auditions, because Empire is the best thing available to black people, even though they know what's wrong. And that's the thing. When I had the controversy with Empire, and I know Lee Daniels was upset with me, I'm sure, because of this. I heard back. We have some mutual friends, and Don Lemon, I know, said he went. I guess he's friends with Lee, and he was on Tom Joyner, kind of trying to chop down, I guess, my argument, and I guess they were. I don't know. I felt like I was being sort of. I wouldn't say attacked. I don't care about being attacked. I think it was interesting because I felt like they were battling me because they wanted to protect their money, but I don't think they were battling me because they knew that I was wrong. I think they were battling me because I think the fact that I was right bothered them a lot. And what's interesting is that, because if you listen to their argument, they never really said that Empire was a really healthy, wholesome show or good for black people. I don't think most people feel that way. Even the actors, I don't think feel that way. Taraji even talked about this recently when she won the Golden Globe. Taraji P. Henson was like, is this what I had to do to win a Golden Globe? She had to basically become this ratchet black woman, even though she's capable of doing a range of characters. She tends to get rewarded when she behaves in a specific way, according to a specific stereotype. Same thing happened with Denzel Washington in Training Day. So they didn't battle me because they felt I was wrong. I think they battled me because my standard was set too high. In their minds, and if you notice, go watch the interview I did on CNN where Don Lemon, I know Don Lemon doesn't like me, so when he invites me on CNN, I'm always real nervous because I always know it's going to be an ambush. But it was an ambush, but I'm fine. I can handle an ambush because my ego's not in this game. I don't care if you try to embarrass me. So Don Lemon, if you watch that interview, you'll notice one of the points that was made in the interview was that I think they said something like, "Well, at least black people have jobs," or something like that. Like they were just happy to get a job. And my standard says, we need to stop just being happy to get a job, because what you're basically saying is that you ain't shit, and you should just be glad white people are acknowledging you on any level, even if they're acknowledging you as an entertainment whore, even if they're putting you in the entertainment ghetto. My feeling is we should set the standard high. Number one, we don't have to just beg for jobs. We can also create jobs. Number two, getting money should never be the excuse for signing away all your dignity. You can't do that. I mean, it's even beyond instant gratification. It's destructive gratification. It's like hitting the crack pipe because you're trying to get through the day, right? So ultimately, we have to stop hitting the entertainment crack pipe. We have to stop becoming economic and entertainment whores of America. We have to have some sort of dignity. We have to have some sort of standard in terms of how we present ourselves. And one way that we can do this is if we had our own studios. I'm talking about 100% black owned, run by black people. And so if I won that $1.5 billion in the Powerball, That's the first thing you would see. Is you might see Boyce Watkins Studios pop up in Atlanta or somewhere, right? I might go right next to Tyler. I love Tyler Perry. He arranged for me to have a private tour of his studio. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I was so inspired by what I saw, and I said, you know what? I don't know if this is 100% black owned, but I would love for it to be, because I think that things like this, what it does is entertainment shapes the minds of people. It shapes culture. So, if you're going to talk about something being black culture, I would at least hope that it would come from black people. And so that's one of the things I'd love to do, is just have a movie studio. And we actually shoot films in LA. We actually rent a studio, or at least we assigned a lease on a studio that we have in LA, and we have a whole team of people that are shooting things in LA. So we're doing our little baby version of it, but we don't get that big corporate money. We don't really go after money from people who are not black, really, because we don't really want that to dilute what we're doing. But believe me, we're building. So whether it's today or tomorrow or later, we're going to get that 1.5 billion eventually. But it might be my grandkids who are investing the 1.5 billion instead of me. But at the same time, we got to think about future generations. So these are the things I would do if I had the 1.5. I think I'm getting carried away because I'm actually getting excited. So the fantasy is kind of fun to kind of think about. And so one day, if you ever see a headline that says Dr. Boyce Watkins just signed a $100 million contract, or just got $200 million for whatever, just know that's where this money's going. It's going to the community so we can invest in each other, not just treat each other like a charity case. Treating each other like a charity case, what that means to me is that you just go around and you just pay for things for people. You help them pay for their car. You help them, pay off the toys in the layaway or whatever. But that's not an investment. That's charity. I want to make investments. So that's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. If you want to learn from us, go check out theblackbusinessschool.com. You can join for free. The classes are very, very reasonably priced. I think you're going to love it. And also we have a money back guarantee, which universities don't offer that. So go check it out if you want to build your wealth game. I think it's good for everybody. So take care. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.